The philosopher John Rawls asked, how would we design a society we could all agree to live in? To be just, he proposed we do it behind a veil of ignorance. None of us would know in advance what place we would take, what attributes, what abilities. We would want each person to be treated as if that person might be us. This idea of the veil of ignorance has been a backdrop, even a definition, of the liberal society we've strived to create. In the past, schools had a one-size-fits-all approach. Unfortunately, this just didn't work for many students. For some students, it really didn't work. Our first guest did something counterintuitive. He organized his classroom and school experience around running marathons. Now, very few people will ever try to run a marathon, and fewer will actually succeed. Our first guest has helped many young people to redefine the ideas of who they are and what they are capable of achieving. Please welcome Trevor Stokes.
I'm the teacher at the Streetfront Alternative Program, an amazing place that was started in 1977. It's affixed to the Britannia Secondary School, an equally fantastic place that sometimes doesn't get the respect that it deserves. What I did, I came into the school 16 years ago, and I found a place that was ripe with challenge. It was ripe with opportunity, but it was also ripe with kids that met sadness and poverty and despair every single day. I took what my forefathers, John Jordan and Bill McMillan, the architects of the program, and I took it and I sort of tweaked it a little bit, and I turned it into an active-based program. I built 40% of every single day around physical activity and 60% around other activities, primarily remedial education. And through this, we decided to really see what we could do to transform lives and change things. That little portable you see with the little orange doors, every day is opened up by, I'll do this, sorry. My amazing staff that I work with, Gord Howie, who's, I guess that would be on your right, and Barry Skillen, who's in the middle. Gord's wearing lifts, he's not that tall, I tell you. Those are really the heart and soul of the program. I'm up here speaking and people might think it goes through me, but it really doesn't. Those are the people that every day show up, and they show kids that through their merits and through their industry, they can achieve great things. Right there was a boy named Mauricio Garcia. He's not a boy anymore, but Mauricio was a kid who I met when he was 14 years of age. A Bolivian kid, came with lots of struggles. He came to our school and he was willing to try. And that's all we ever ask of our students, are you willing to try? He got out there and he started to train and he started to train. He asked me if we should go run the Sun Run. And I thought, okay, that's great. We put a lot of time in. Maybe the Sun Run would be a pretty worthy endeavor. I realized really quickly that maybe that's not what we needed to do. He'd finished the race with 50,000 others. It would be great, sure, but the spotlight would be diffuse. There'd be so many of us sharing in that. We decided to do something differently. We decided to go and run a full marathon. We went down to Seattle, and a kid that seemed so improbable, wearing his And1 shoes, didn't have laces, they were slip-ons. He ran all 42K. He never once complained. He put his head down and he ran. He finished that race in 4 hours and 18 minutes, and it was the start of something magical and something incredible that I get to witness every single school day. This is a classic photo. As we started with 1, we went to 2, we went to 4, we went to 7. We started to run half marathons. We started to do a lot of things. This is a special photo. It's not that these kids are any more special than any of the other students I teach. That's not the case, but they're amazing. Sam, I'm not sure if you remember, but the boy on your left is Johnson Wilson. He was a citizen of the Vancouver recipient. And Sam actually wonderfully at the Italian Cultural Center awarded that to him. So it's nice how it's all coming back full circle. But in that picture there, we just finished the Vancouver Marathon. We had to hobble up a whole bunch of steps. We made it. But in that are some of the most remarkable kids. And I could show you any photo of these marathon kids, and they're all equally remarkable. But you see Johnson Wilson, who was the first Aboriginal boy at Britannia Secondary to finish calculus. You see beside him Dylan Goche, one of the most amazing underground musicians in Canada, if not the world. But there's me, yeah, whatever. And then right after that, you see Gage Ladisseur. Gage Ladisseur in that year ran the marathon in 3 hours and 18 minutes. He was 2 minutes away from qualifying for Boston, which would have been so prophetic because that was the 100th anniversary that Tom Longboat, an Aboriginal runner from Ontario, went and won the Boston Marathon. But we gotta love Boston. They got standards. We couldn't get them in. No big whoop. Then we got Justin, and I'll go back to Justin, but then we have Francis, and Francis is an all-star. I'm telling you, he wouldn't do anything, but I'm telling you, he could do math sheets. Every class, it was more math sheets for Francis, but he was an amazing kid. He ran 3 marathons with me, and never once, and I'm telling you this, I ran over probably 300 runs with that kid. He never once complained. But the boy on the, I guess it would be second from the right, is Justin Keepness, good Saskatchewan boy. Justin's a kid that really had some struggles. About 3 weeks before the marathon, he was involved in an altercation. It was unfortunate. He got macheted. He had a 16-centimeter gash on the back of his, he started from his neck and went down to his lower back. He also had been hit with a bottle across his head. So he had some struggles. He was dealing with a lot of issues. But it came time for the marathon. We couldn't find him. We had to go around. I literally climbed a couple balconies, got through a shoe, woke up the wrong person, and he came out, got his shoes, and we went and ran that race. And it's a remarkable story because Gage Lannister ran it in 3 hours and 18 minutes. For him, it was easy. He just muscled it and went. But for Justin, he ran it in 5 hours and 15 minutes. That means he had 5 hours and 15 minutes to think of all the pain, all the suffering. And I got my wife to meet us at La Casa Gelato. We used to go through East Van, really close to Britannia Secondary. And I asked my wife, can you give me some money? I don't think he can do it because we're only 9K in, okay? Just think about that. He's got 33K to go. And I'm saying, I don't think he can do it. But she gave me some money and we took off and we kept on going. It got so bad that Justin could only run 9 steps before he cramped up, but he never gave up. And I'm telling you, for 55,000 steps, that's what the average is a marathon. He thought every moment that I could give up, but he never once gave up. And he fought and he fought. And at that moment, he's an absolute champion. It wasn't the time. We always tell him, the kids over there that are from Streetfront, they know it's not about the time. What it is about the effort. And were you willing to put the effort forward and achieve something of greatness? They're champions. Every one of these kids are champions. But on that moment, it was so easy for him to shut it down, but he never did. Keep moving. This is where we're at now. This is our most recent success. We went to Vancouver, down to Seattle. I'm telling you, it was difficult to get a couple kids across the border. You can ask Gord. We got them across, though. And as we did, look at what we have achieved right there. And it makes it even more poignant. My son is the one that's holding the small sign. Little 11-year-old. He had ran 4 times. And he ran all 42K. It's amazing. But if you look at yeah, it's great. But if you look at the sign and you look at the faces, that's optimism, that's hope. It's like, I did it. And nobody can ever take that away from them. So it's all about building self-esteem. That's what my speech is about. That is so important. It's everything to these kids. And if we can get them to believe in themselves and get them to trust that they can do great things, they'll continue to do great things. All of a sudden, we decided to do this. We're doing great with the marathons. We decided let's change something. Let's change the narrative of where these kids come from. Because most of them come from extreme poverty. They come from difficult situations. We came up with something called the Street to Peak Project. And what our goal is to go to 5 continents in 10 years. And this is with the exact kids that come to our school. Little kids from grade 8 to 10, because that's what I teach. I teach a triple grade from grade 8 to 10. And they show up, and we're going to do it. And we already did. We went to Kilimanjaro. We were the very first school in Canadian history to go climb Kilimanjaro. We're not Crofton House. Yep. It wasn't Crofton House. It wasn't St. George's. No offense to the fantastic places. But it was a little school. Literally, we could run there in about, well, most of us could. We could run there in about 3 minutes. And I'm telling you, it was amazing what we were able to pull off. And then what we got to see while we were up there are situations like that. Jade Bissonette is just over there. And that's what it is. If emotion is currency, I'm the richest man ever. Because I was witness to that. It was unbelievable to see a kid who we had thought was not going to make it to the top. And we were about to come down and we were descending. Like Lazarus, she rises up and there she is. And I'm telling you, I never have to teach another day in my life. That's everything to me. As much as I love everything about my family and stuff, I've never had a more poignant moment in my life. And it's just incredible to see what she did. There we are. That's the largest collection of high school marathoners in the world. And I'm missing 60 runners. But right there is the largest collection. Every one of those is a champion. You see some of them, you can see they've got 11, 12, 13 marathons. I got Raymond King over there. He's ran 12. It's unbelievable. They're under 19 years of age at this point. And what I'd like to say is those faces that you see, if you don't know them, find out who they are. Believe in them, because they'll do incredible things and you'll be so proud that you had the chance to get to know them. My name's Trevor Stokes, Streetfront Alternative.